In the land of Egypt, there arose a decree that shook the hearts of many. The Pharaoh, fearing the growing strength of the Hebrew people, spoke words of cruelty that would change the course of history. It was a command born out of fear, a desperate attempt to suppress a nation destined to rise. The soldiers moved with haste, storming homes and tearing infants from the arms of their mothers. The air was filled with wails of anguish as families were shattered. But amid the darkness, there was hope. A mother, driven by love and courage, defied the Pharaoh's decree. She hid her son, shielding him from the eyes of death. Her heart broke as she watched the current carry him away, but her faith remained steadfast. And so the child who would one day confront the mighty Pharaoh drifted into the hands of destiny. But there was a very unlikely person who found Moses among the reeds. Found by the daughter of Pharaoh, Moses was raised in the palace of the very king who sought to destroy him. But though he grew in the luxury of the palace, Moses' heart ached for the people who suffered under the yoke of slavery. His journey from prince to deliverer was just beginning. A brutal overseer was striking a Hebrew slave mercilessly. The cries of pain and injustice echoed in Moses' heart. And he struck the overseer. The man fell lifeless to the ground. Fear gripped Moses as he buried the body in the sand, hoping the act would remain hidden. But the next day, as he approached two Hebrews arguing, his past came back to haunt him. Afraid for his life and shunned by the very people he sought to protect, Moses fled Egypt, escaping into the wilderness. But something extraordinary happened. Moses saw a light. Drawn by the mystery, he approached cautiously. Through a bush ablaze with fire, God spoke to him. Moses, Moses. Moses returns to Egypt after years away and is confronted with the suffering of his people. He watches as the Hebrew slaves struggle under the weight of oppression, their cries echoing through the streets. But before he can react, Egyptian guards approach. Without hesitation, he walks past them and enters the grand palace. Inside, he stands before Pharaoh, once like a brother to him, but now an enemy. Moses steps outside, lifts his staff, and calls upon the Lord. The plagues descend upon Egypt. The river turns to blood. Locusts swarm the fields. And frogs fill homes and temples. As the heavens roared and hail rained down like the wrath of the Almighty, Pharaoh stood unyielding, his heart hardened, his grip tightening, refusing to let the chosen ones go. Darkness covers the land, an unnatural night that brings fear. Still, Pharaoh refuses to let the Hebrew people go. Then the final blow strikes. Every firstborn without the mark of the Lamb is taken by death. The cries of mourning rise across Egypt. In the palace, Pharaoh cradles his son's lifeless body, his grief unbearable. Broken, he calls for Moses and finally gives the command, "Take your people and leave." As the Hebrews march out of Egypt, joy spreads through them. The people have been freed from slavery. But Pharaoh's grief turns to anger, and he sends his army to bring them back. Chariots thunder across the desert, closing in on Moses and his people as they reach the Red Sea. Trapped between the water and the advancing soldiers, panic spreads. But Moses lifts his staff once more.